been the Nedbank Cup over the past 72 or so hours, but in the interim, there's been a big news story that has broken that involves Kaizer Chiefs. We're going to start there, and helping me unpack, I have Christopher Bongo joining me and Mazola Molefe, who we must just say up front, right? Mazola has a juicy 2,000 plus word story coming out on Wednesday. He's going to give us highlights from that story, not give us the full story because capitalism. Right?
Yeah.
That's how it works. You got to go and buy the paper on Wednesday. Yeah. But we're going to pick it apart because basically Chiefs are in trouble with FIFA. What they have said is that they've been banned from the next 2 transfer windows from dealing in any players because of the way they handled the Dax situation. Dax, a player who was signed to them for a little while, didn't make much of an impact. He's moved on to Black Leopards on loan, right?
No. He's
permanent.
Yeah,
he's permanent. But the Black Leopards have come out and said
he's an impact.
Well, he has, yeah, he has. But now he's going to be stressed right now because he's got lots of money to pay back. Let's start at the beginning.
Yeah.
The courting of Dax by Chiefs, that was always kind of shrouded in some weird kind of controversy. Let's go back to the beginning.
Yeah.
Was that deal, for your all intents and purposes, above board, done in the right way?
Well, we were led to believe it was above board and done well. What we didn't know is what was happening behind the scenes.
Right.
In that, obviously, this ruling has now come out. I think Chiefs, Leopards and Safa got the document on Thursday and Friday respectively.
And Leopards only because Dax is their player.
Only Leopards only.
They're not involved in the case.
Yeah, no, they're not involved with. Well, they sort of are because Dax as their player. That means he can't play for the rest of the season anymore. The 4-month
ban.
ban.
They still play salary though.
Well, he's still contracted unless they terminate the contract. That's the one thing that they could say and say, look, you're going to be of no value for us.
Right.
We'll reach a settlement because Dax is contracted to Leopards until 2021.
Right.
Wow.
June 2021. So they could turn around and say, look, let's agree on a settlement because you're not going to be playing for the next 4 months. So what's the point?
Right.
You know? But apparently the chairman likes him very much. So maybe he might have a soft spot.
Right.
Or maybe Leopards might fight it. I don't know. But maybe it's too much of grey hairs for them to go all the way. But back to the original
deal.
The reason why Chiefs have been banned for 2 transfer windows. We were obviously we've always known that there was issue around Dax arriving in South Africa.
Right.
The chairman Kaza Motaung spoke at length about it. Bobby Motaung spoke at length about it. Forza Juniors, the club in Madagascar, had claimed that the player has a professional contract.
Okay.
Remember, if you're an amateur player, you know, there can be instances where you can be signed or poached by a professional team.
Right, because you weren't in a professional structure.
You were not in a professional structure, no compensation, no transfer fee.
Right.
You're a free agent, you just signed. Remember, Chiefs had spotted Dax playing for Madagascar in the COSAFA Cup in 2018.
Right.
And Forza then claimed, no, he belongs to us, so they were delaying tactics. At some point, his passport was confiscated in Madagascar. That's why he couldn't even leave the country to join Kaizer Chiefs. Eventually, he did arrive, but he couldn't play because he didn't have his clearance. He didn't have his clearance from FIFA, which was eventually granted, which is now that can be the confusing part.
Yeah, because I was going to say, but the Chiefs were given the green light.
They were given a provisional sort of clearance to go ahead and play the player. He made his debut in September 2018 when Giovanni Solinas was still the coach. Exactly. But what we didn't know, obviously, now that this story has come out, is that behind the scenes, Forza was still fighting Kaizer Chiefs. For breach of contract because they'd said the player has a contract with us up until a certain point, and
For me, the question is just in Madagascar, football is an amateur level. How can you pay the amount of money that they were saying about 2 million from an amateur player? Because by FIFA there is a law where an amateur player you only pay a compensation fee, but it's not a full transfer fee. But 2 million. They were a bit greedy there as well.
Exactly. I think perhaps that's and this is where maybe I can't reveal too much. But there are reasons.
Listen, I'm buying the newspaper. I'm reading on Wednesday. So very early in the morning when I'm dropping the kid, I'm buying the newspaper to read. I hope your story is gonna say all those stuff.
No.
Including why an amateur player.
It's all in there. Whatever I couldn't put in, I'll put it on the website.
Because it is true. If amateur player you can pay 2 million, we won't have players being promoted.
Yeah.
Because 2 million is quite a lot.
It's a lot of money. How did they arrive at that figure? Do you know?
Well, based on the
market value or their valuation.
I think the other thing I think they might have done is just go on transfer market. To be honest, a lot of the
can't do
clubs
that.
do that.
That's
A lot of
fair
the
enough,
clubs,
yeah.
a lot of the agents, they do that. They
You
go on
can't.
transfer market and
See
they
what
look
the
at the
market price
value,
is,
what
yeah.
the market price is. I mean, how can a player who plays an amateur football in Madagascar
And
Worth
over
2
25.
million.
be worth 2 million rand?
Over 25.
You know, exactly. I mean, so it's you know, that's.
But the sad story is, if the story stays, you can correct me, Kaizer Chiefs until June next year, they won't, until May next year, they won't be able to sign any player, which means
Yeah, so it's it's effective. Obviously, the next two transfer windows,
Right,
which
which
would
is
be
the end of the season?
the end of the season,
And January.
and
January next year.
2021. So,
So
they
which
can't
mean
sign players until
Kaizer Chiefs MDC players, please, you hear the news, work
Yeah.
hard.
and the players potentially obviously out of contract. I think
So they can negotiate their fees now, because you know the team
you
won't
know
be
the
able
team
to buy.
is desperate.
And if Kaizer Chiefs goes the way it's going, they would be in Champions League or Confederation Cup
Yeah,
next
yeah,
season.
Yeah.
So which means going to the continent, you need more bigger pool. So there is a big chance at Chiefs at the moment.
Yeah.
Okay, what is Chiefs' response at the moment?
Nothing really. They just sent out a
Stock
brief
standard, we're going to
statement
appeal.
that just says we're going to appeal. You know, they were just basically confirming, because obviously when this story breaks, it's such a big story that people find it hard to believe. You know, they
Yes.
they question the journalists. They're like, there's no way Chiefs have been banned not to
Right,
sign players for 2
right.
transfer
Is
windows.
it the first time in South Africa happened, right? If I'm
Yeah.
not mistaken, I don't know. There is any South African team has
Yeah,
been.
I
Yeah.
can't think of a
No.
South African
I think
team
it's the
that
first
was-
time, so
yeah.
it is a
Transfer
shock.
ban.
Yeah, so people are thinking, no ways, this journalists that pulling the wool over our eyes or whatever,
Right.
and Chiefs were basically just confirming all the
Listen,
stories that
hey,
we wrote
it's true.
to say yes, it's true. We've been given a transfer ban and we're going to appeal it. They have, from the day that they were sent the document, which was last week Thursday, they have 21 days to appeal, and obviously they've confirmed that they're going ahead with the appeal. So they're gonna have to hire top
yeah.
lawyers to turn this around.
So
because
Bobby's gonna go to FIFA.
it's crazy.
Zurich.
They have to go all the way to Zurich to well, they have to go to Kaz, which is also in Zurich.
Yeah, yeah.
But you know, so let's see. It's going to be interesting. I mean, imagine Kaizer Chiefs not being able to sign players
for 2 windows.
For 2 windows.
Well, me, I'm worrying about a player not being able
You
to make
know?
money.
In-
Because you 4 months you've been banned, and there is a chance that
Yeah, Chris,
So th-
exactly.
But
That's
if you
the
get
other
that
thing.
settlement, though,
That's the
then
other
you'll be
thing. I
fine.
mean, Ducks moved from earning 6,000 rands a month in Madagascar to earning 60,000 rands at Chiefs. You know, so
and then you cannot go to zero,
you
even
know.
if the fee
Well,
was
yeah,
reduced.
yeah,
But you cannot
exactly.
go to zero.
I don't know how much the contract agreement with Leopards
Sits at now,
sits
yeah.
at now, but I imagine it won't be.
Probably
Less than
half
50.
that.
Not
If
less
at-
than 50.
Not less than
Yeah,
50.
no,
that's
I
what
don't.
I'm saying,
Yeah, because Leopards do pay good salaries,
Right.
and they even their coaches are on good salaries. So, you know, I don't think it went significantly lower.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
from the
From the
60,
60, yeah.
70k that he
Sad
was
story
earning
though,
at
both
Kaizer
sides.
Chiefs. Yeah.
Sad story.
Hey, let's see how that one pans out. Like we said, look out for the exclusive from Mazola. That'll be dropping on Wednesday. But let's go in quickly then to that Nedbank Cup game between Chiefs and Royal Eagles. Style over substance. At the end of the day, they're through to the next round, and that's how Ernst kind of saw the game. He was like, listen, man, we're just through. That's all that matters.
It is a question of emotional repetition. When Kaizer Chiefs found himself against a lower division teams, based on what happened since Baroka, if I'm not mistaken, they found themselves in the position where they want to do too much, but it doesn't happen. The doubts start crawling in, and of course supporters as well, they go on them and going on. But at the bottom, listen, playing football, we won, we're through, and that's what counts.
But, I mean, I guess at the end of the day, this is where this whole battle comes between Ernst's philosophy. I mean, he's getting results, and then what people perhaps want to see. I mean, right now, are we still at the point where Kaizer Chiefs fans don't care how the results come as long as they still come?
Look, I think if you've had a 5-year trophy drought, you probably don't care how you finally get that monkey off your back. You know, the football people who want to enjoy the game, who want to go to and get their money's worth. They want to see flair, and Chiefs in some games they have.
Yeah, I don't think they've been that dry.
Yeah, they haven't been that
But
dry.
is it the coach? Because who's a flairful player at Kaizer Chiefs that can bring you that thing?
Yeah, I mean there aren't
There aren't that many. The ones that have been there have kind of been stifled.
George is really the only player that's got that flair and
Kama, you could say.
Oh, he's not playing much.
I mean, he was there on the weekend, and he missed an absolute sitter. But you know, you wonder if he's also his mind is right. But I mean, at the end of the day, Nedbank. Pirates out, Chiefs are in. You know, at the end of the day, it's like, let's move on to the next round, I guess. It's not a very sexy result, folks. You know, it wasn't a goal a minute. It was a 70th minute goal from Lebo Manyama. Good control on his part.
Guess the Chief miss out in MTN8. They miss out in Telkom.
Yeah.
Losing the first round, regardless of the opponent, losing out in the first round of another cup,
would have been.
You start going, oh, another year.
Yeah.
Even last 16, I think they have to do like they did in the Nedbank Cup last season. They have to go all the way.
Quarters to semis at least. And let's see. I mean, they do have the personnel, and as boring as it may be, their football has kind of
find out
results.
soon enough. I think the draw is later tonight.
Yes. We'll find out soon enough. Khune starting after a while. Good to see him in goal.
4 months.
For a player, I always said, for a player, it's always good to see them in the field playing, because that's what their life is all about. And it tells us that he's fit, which is good. And it tells us he has the will to play, because he played like he was playing against any team in PSL.
Right.
The attitude, I like his attitude. And we shouldn't forget, he used to be a captain of the national team. So his attitude, it was good. So I saw a lot of positive.
Yeah, could it be a genius move on Ernst's part to develop or recultivate this hunger inside of Itumeleng Khune? He's been sitting on the sidelines. Now he gets his chance. You could almost say that he's just kind of hoping to see what reaction comes out of Khune, so he can have two top keepers for this run-in.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what he said after the game, speaking to reporters in his post-match conference, that, you know, Itu's main aim now is to try to get back into the national team, to be number one there.
Wow.
And he's obviously going to try and do that by winning his Chiefs number 1 jersey. But the problem is Daniel Akpe, who's been doing so well that he's earned himself a 2-year extension to his contract. And Ernst pretty much confirmed that when they play Maritzburg on Saturday evening, Daniel Akpe will probably be back in goal.
Makes
because
sense,
you know, it doesn't make sense to drop him so soon after he'd had such good performances.
No,
and
for sure.
he
I
felt
mean,
like,
the Khune thing would be a cup thing, surely.
Exactly, and that's what he said. He said, look, if we keep progressing in the cup, then, you know, that's where maybe we rotate them. But obviously, and then he was at pains to describe how difficult it is for him to make up his mind. And he said, look, I don't want to think about it now. There's gonna come a time where I have to really make the decision whether it's Khune or Akpe, because I also have Bruce Vuma as well, who's young and went with the national team to the AFCON. He will be knocking on the door soon, so he's got a good headache. But obviously the fans probably want to see Khune back in goal, you know? I think also his distribution is such a weapon for Kaizer Chiefs, you know, and you could see, even as dull as the game was, I think it was his ball initially all the way to sort of the final third for Manyama to actually get that goal. So you can see how important he is, but how quickly he's going to be number one again, you know, maybe another couple of games, I think.
Okay, well, let's see. I mean, Akpe hasn't set a foot wrong. It was one of the wobbly starts, but he's since kind of maintained his form and gotten to become a very credible shot stopper for Kaizer Chiefs. Let's move on to the next game that saw another Tshwane derby in quick succession. Sundowns and SuperSport in action. One solitary goal from Spusiso Vilagazi. I think, you know, yes, there's a result, but the biggest takeaway for this obviously would be Sundowns losing Tapelo Morena, which, you know, I mean, you don't want to see that. He's one of their most important players, and you could just see he was in a world of hurt.
The worst part about that injury, it was not even a football injury, if I can say. It was such a fake injury. I just hate it when footballers get injured. You can even see the opponent's face. I forgot the...
It was Basera who was with him,
You can even see his face like, what did I do? How is it get so bad?
Yes, exactly.
You know, and this keeping looking at the bench to tell people to come quicker because it is... And what I liked about it is immediately I saw a message come from Wydad Casablanca. And then later on, El Alias will send a message, say, listen, we wanted a good game against Mamelodi Sundowns. He's a good player. We wish him good. So, it was sad. It was sad. But Mamelodi Sundowns.
And that's a big thing that was the takeaway for Pizzo, was that, like, Africa.
Yeah.
I need this
I
guy
need
for
this
the
guy, yeah.
Champions League.
Yeah. I mean, look, I think he's possibly his season done.
Yeah.
The club put up a statement giving an update that he's been to the hospital. He's had an operation. He'll be a few weeks out.
What was it, by the way, if I may ask?
Yeah, I think he fractured his ankle. Initially, there were suggestions, that he might not have fractured his ankle. Maybe it might have twisted because he didn't leave the venue immediately.
Right.
He was still in the venue. He was in the dressing room. The doctors were giving him a medical attention. But as the latest update that came on Sunday morning was that actually he did fracture his ankle.
Okay.
And once you fractured the ankle, that's a couple of months out. Yeah.
Just for the people who are watching, that injury comes the fact that the leg was in space.
Yeah.
And no support at all. And any touch of an impact, it goes whichever direction.
Yeah.
So it was not something that you wanted to do to the opponent.
Yeah. I mean, an important player. The speed, he's versatile. He can play right back, he can play right wing, he can play as a number 9 also. So he's very important to the team. They're gonna miss him dearly.
It's like one of those players where when you have him in your side and the transfer window comes along, you're like, well, I've got a utility man in this guy, and then now he's injured. So we wish Thapelo Morena a very speedy recovery. Fortunately, he's got age on his side. As we now move on to what was a 6-goal thriller from Orlando Stadium. It was Pirates in action against Bidvest Wits. What a game.
Sure.
I mean, we complain about sometimes games being dull, but that one, if anything, sucks up all the energy of the Chiefs one and gave us
it's just sad for me to say this for people to hear. It is my first game of the season to go.
Oh, okay.
This season, I did not go to a football. I was getting out of the transition of watching live football all the time.
Right.
So, for me, it was not about I didn't watch a lot of matches. It was just atmosphere from the people.
Yeah.
You have been to Orlando Stadium many times. As you are coming up where they park the cars, they're often empty when Orlando Pirates is playing at home. Yesterday, it was packed. The car was packing from the roundabout. It's telling you that there is something is happening back at the Orlando Pirates. The happy time, whatever they call
Happy
it,
people.
is coming back. The game itself, it's 2-0. I turned around, I told the people I was sitting with, I want to see the mantle of this team under this coach. 2-0 against Vet, Gavin Hunt, no way, not a chance. But I was proven so wrong.
I mean, it was a good start from Wits. They took 2 goals lead through Ivanga and Hotto. And then Loch and Jelle turned it on just to recover in that second half, it was just to show their character.
Yeah, when Wits went 2-0 up, I immediately thought, Zimbabwe got his tactics wrong because one, you're missing Mango.
Yeah.
And you go with Lepasa, who's hardly kicked the ball.
Right. When
you have Justin Shonga and Tsegofatso Mabaso, who are the 2 strikers who had been on the bench since you arrived at the club.
Right.
And obviously Mango was such an important player. He scored 9 goals in 7 games. So when you, for the first time, you don't have that guy, you're probably thinking, well, the guys that have been good enough to deputize him on the bench should immediately come straight in.
Right.
But instead he goes for Lepasa. So for me, I was thinking, weird choice. Even after they come back, I still thought strange choice. Yes, he scored the penalty, but that's just about all that he done on the day.
Every Orlando Pirates supporter that with you, it seemed like you're in the stadium. That's what they were talking about.
Exactly.
Once the lineup came up, their very first question, where is Shonga?
Exactly.
Why are we starting with this guy?
Yeah. So I couldn't understand that. Obviously, Ben unavailable.
Yeah.
It makes sense maybe that you try to have cover there, and especially Ndlovu seemed like the logical choice, even though Lindam Tambo possibly could have done just as good a job. But that much I don't fault. But in attack, I think the coach got it wrong, and obviously they missed Wayne Sunderland's.
But in the first half, before you go there, in the first half, what you're talking about. We talked about it last week when you were talking about what Orlando Pirates has changed. It was Makarenge, right? First half, Makarenge was not playing in the center. I keep on seeing him playing in the right back where Nyauza was playing in front of him. So he was playing behind Nyauza. In the middle, you have Ndlovu alone. and the Monare just enjoyed that space in the middle of the park, and that was the tactic we could have said. And then I saw the coach actually called Makaringe, say they had water break. He called Makaringe, said, "But where are you wide? Go there." In the second half, it changed. He went inside and they start controlling.
So it's just like a tactical discipline thing.
I think
but
so.
I'm with Chris on the fighting spirit. You know, immediately when they went 2-0 down, I thought game over. You know, but I remembered that when they played in Durban in the first round of the league game, where that was a 7-goal thriller, you could see both sides just went at it, and I was wondering, Pirates now have a different coach. The structure has seemed to be working, and it seems a lot better, and they're obviously on an unbeaten run. Will they have the fighting spirit? And man, oh man, they give us a show. But also, we must not forget the man in the middle also stole the show.
Before you go to the referee, I wanted to ask a question. Maybe when Orlando Pirates players pass the ball, it seems like they're in a fashion show. they do something spectacular. They want the ball to look in a certain way.
You think so? I thought Flanty was a bit guilty of that. Like everything was
well, I was looking at the Orlando Pirates at home. They got themselves in a very good position, just in the corner of the 18 areas. But when they pass that ball, either they drive it too hard in a certain way, everybody misses it, or they want to score a perfect goal. And when they miss it, the first thing they do is they pull their shot down. They walk with a kind of flair.
Chris Bongo, the soccer behavioralist. You're right. These weird behaviors, I don't know. I have no question for that.
You miss a goal, get upset.
Yes. But I mean, that's got to do with the modern player. There's a lot of things that are different back then. But let's talk about the man in the middle, because it seemed like Victor Gomes, he's just gotten a new gig now to go ref
Super Cup.
The Super Cup. There we go. What did you make of his game?
Look, sometimes I'm on the fence about Victor, because sometimes you applaud him for being brave. Sometimes you're just thinking, Victor just don't want to not have the sudden urge to always want to be the man in the middle, the center of attention.
Right.
So, looking, because I was watching on TV the initial incident with the penalty, I had missed it because they lost the feed. So by the time it returned, it was 1-0, and they only kept showing the penalty conversion. And at halftime, they obviously showed it didn't. To me, it didn't look like it even touched Makaringe's hand. It looked like it hit him on the hip.
Yeah.
So that's one. Secondly, I think also the final I think that's a penalty. He pulls him by the neck.
But the Mutupa one.
Mutupa one also. For
me, it looked penalty.
For me, it looked a penalty, but replay upon replay, it looks like Jelle does touch him before. And then he keeps running.
A
few steps, and then he trips on his own.
Right.
So I'm thinking, good call. And then the red card, Elias Pelembe.
We don't know what was said.
Yeah, we don't know what was said. But was it necessary for the player to back chat? And also, I think it must be said, Vets players have now this tendency of back chat. We saw it when they played Cape Town City. And
the point you're making there, we have to ask a question: why? Is because of their coach's behavior.
Yeah.
You look at your coach, because your coach is showing so-called passion and activation. You players, you want to be part of your coach action.
Of course.
But what
the players mirror the manager. Yeah.
Exactly. What the coach did not tell them is, guys, we have tough fixtures are coming. We have something like 3 or 4 games behind everybody else. So far, I've got already 1 player or 2 players that is losing. For bending because of the coaching, pushing the referee.
Yeah, Samir Tuti.
Yes.
Possibly.
Go there.
And the goalkeeper,
Goalkeeper. Go there, leave the referee alone. So as we are talking now, after this game, Bidvest might find themselves minus 4 key players. And that's because Orlando Pirates are suffering from 1 player getting more yellow cards is out. So I think it was an indiscipline from Bidvest players. The referee Gomez is a game himself. He's part of the game.
But you see, I'm starting to wonder whether Gomez should be in the middle of these
big games
because obviously it's emotionally charged. And when it's emotionally charged, players react. and he reacts by dishing out yellow cards and red cards also. You know,
Right.
whereas
can calm the
some
situation.
But don't
referees.
you need him to do that to show that this is not the way to conduct yourselves? I mean, if you have a
Yeah,
softer
sure.
ref who lets it slide, then
Sure, but not in every big game that he's involved in. And
Yeah.
and watch him when he's on duty in CAF competitions. He's mellow. He's mellow. He doesn't flesh out red and yellow cards willy nilly.
There is no law against a referee putting your hand around the player. There is no against that to tell them, calm down.
right.
Calm down, it's a game. Calm down. You know, next time you do it, I'll give you a yellow card. There is nothing. Look at what he did for that penalty that we're talking about. If he did give a penalty to Bitves, it could have been a red card for Jelly because it was the last man. So I think judges say, I'm thinking.
Yeah.
So he
Yeah.
can't. Sometimes he can be rational, but most of the time he is the game himself,
Yeah, but
which
I
is
mean,
wrong.
is it rational not to give Jelly the red card? I mean, you got to do what the law says.
Yeah.
You can't really take.
No,
it
I'm not
into your
saying.
own
I
hands
don't think
and-
that is the decision he
Yeah.
made because of that.
Yeah.
But from that decision,
Yeah.
if he did make a penalty, it was a red card.
Yeah, and that's fine. If that's the rules of the game,
But
that's what it is.
both of them, he did not give a red card nor the penalty.
I don't know, guys. I mean, I know how Victor can get. What I was saying about the Mutupa chance was that sometimes if you don't see it,
Yeah.
you can't give it, right?
Yeah.
People say, no, he had a clear view.
No,
I'm
the
not so sure.
the assistant referee did not hesitate. He went up, he put there. and
I don't know.
Victor followed.
I also don't think. Look, I don't think it's also a coincidence that whenever Victor is involved, it's not a coincidence. It's the personality of the man.
Right.
You know, he wants to show the players that
Authority.
If you back chat, if you show dissent,
Yeah.
I will send you off.
Right.
You know, and in some instances he does let them off. I mean, if you check with the big vet striker Avanga,
Yeah.
where he had a couple of incidents early in the game where he kicked Ndlovu, and I think he kicked either Nyauza or
Right.
one of the central defenders.
Right.
And twice Gomez warned him and said, "Look, you have to be careful because
Right.
I
You're
will
ska-
send
you're
you off.
skating on thin
You're
ice."
skating on thin ice." So
Yeah.
he has those moments where he looks like he's controlling the game, then it just completely goes out of control. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's because the game in itself became so high octane that from it being a 6-goal thriller to going to extra time, and
Right.
then to top it off, you had Victor as the referee. Just I don't know, but,
Well,
but I don't think it's a coincidence.
Just to end it on a positive refereeing note, just to say there were moments there where the ball had gone over the line, and in the instances where the whole ball went over the line, congratulations to the refs for those goals. Because I know, like, it's easy to come in and say, listen, they do need help.
Yeah.
But on the front of goal line technology, the calls I think that were made this weekend were correct.
Yeah,
Sure.
But at the end of the day, referees do need help. Whether you're Victor Gomes, Victor Tshwane, whoever you are,
Yeah.
you could do with that that hand. And lastly, on that Bitves bits, something that was very telling from Gavin saying that the CAF schedule, the play in the Confederations Cup, has really helped toughen up his boys.
Yeah. No, I agree with him with that. And
Yeah.
Pizzo has said the same thing in the past. Orlando Pirates coaches in the past, whether it's Micho, whether it's Roger Dessar and Eric Tinkler, they've said that in the past. Because we've been together for so long. I remember Eric Tinkler's exact words at Supersport when they reached the CAF Confed final. Even though they lost at the final hurdle, he said, because we'd been together for so long, we felt such a bond
Yeah.
that we were fighting for each other on the pitch. We were, we knew each other's soft spots, and
Right.
we knew what to do because
Right.
we had become a family. And I think it's important. It's such a strong bond that even when on the pitch, you know each other's strengths and,
Right.
and weaknesses, and they can only build from that. I think now that that's sort of out the way now, I think it's going to do them a world of good in the championship race. I mean, if they can take on an informed Orlando Pirates
Right.
team like that,
Yeah.
well, mind you, they did lose a 2-0 advantage, but still to go through with a man down, even though it's only a few minutes that they played with a man down, it shows.
And
It
their
shows.
attitude,
Yeah.
they did not change. They realized that, listen, if we put the ball on the floor, this team is going to kill us, which they did.
Right.
But once we get the ball, play it behind them. Let them run. Let them do this. And they disturb Pirate all the time.
Right.
Kick here, do this. listen, Bidvest are going to fight.
Right.
And we have to accept it.
Yeah.
They will fight. And
they know how to fight now. To his point about Kev, they know how to fight now because they've taken a beating and
Sure.
and
Sure.
literally and
Figuratively,
figuratively.
And
you
they are in
know.
the center of this championship. They are in the center.
Yeah, they
Let's
are,
see. Let's see
definitely.
how they do. But Give Matupa there showing exactly why he was linked with Mamelodi Sundowns for so long in this past window. Moving on, Celtic, good value in the end. A good comeback. I mean, Chawapiwa got things going for Amazulu. Then it was a Morton own goal. And then essentially the floodgates opened there. And I mean, Amazulu, looked like they had something, an initial spark. But Celtic at home, too strong a proposition.
Can Amazulu be relegated this season? They start feeling like so. They're not getting results. They're not coming.
Well, one could argue a result like this allows them to focus
No,
fully on the
we
on
lie.
surviving.
We lie about it all the time. It is a lie, and he has been writing. He has been writing stories about football. Once you get in that field,
Yeah.
you want to win the game. You're not saying, okay, this game we're gonna give 60%, and then the PSL game we give 100%.
For sure.
You give 100% in every single game, and if you win a Nedbank Cup or this game, the next game you have a good attitude because the change room changes.
Yeah.
The conversation is different. The change room when you win the game. You say, okay, guys, last week this is how we played. We won the game. Keep the motivation. Keep going. Next week in the PSL game, the conversation is this way, guys. Okay, we must keep going, but because we come from a loss, so they did not want to lose the game,
Right.
and taking a lead and in the cup game where you don't have to win by 4 or 5-0, taking a lead 1-0 and then giving it away, it's just showing that the team has a situation.
Yeah.
So, I mean, is that like just symptomatic of the greater problems at Amazulu that they have?
Look, there's a story that came out today that Amazulu had actually demoted 5 senior players,
Right.
including Michael Morton and Lihlono Majoro, to train on their own in the aftermath of that Nedbank Cup defeat. So
Right.
I think Chris is right in the sense that you might think, well, it's a blessing in disguise that they were knocked out of the cup competition. The club says,
it's a
no
loss.
ways, you guys
Yeah.
underperformed. You
Yeah.
must
You lost.
now go train on their own, which is also a bit
I mean, is that how you handle it, though?
no,
I mean,
I was about to get to that, to say it's self-defeating because those are key players.
Exactly, you need them.
Michael Morton, Lihlono Majoro, and 3 other players, Ngobeni.
But Michael Morton didn't kick that ball into the net. I mean, it was a mistake. It happens in defense. The pressure told. Is this the right response? I mean, as players, you're seeing your teammates being demoted. Are you you're operating from a place of fear now? How does that translate?
We have to be honest. Amazulu players at the moment, they're thinking, who's going to see me? Who's going to buy me? Players, after the game, they call their agent. Did he call you? Did you receive that phone call? Did you speak to so-and-so? That's where their mind is at the moment.
So not on this drive to save them.
No. You want to save yourself. You want to jump. You want to go. Because the results are not coming. And how the management react with that, often, I always say, if I've got my football club, I'll be relegated every year because I think I don't know how to run a football club. I don't know how to deal with this type of a situation. Will I call Major to say, listen, go and speak to the guys. Tell them that you have been there before, you know what to do. I don't know if you have to give it to another player.
But I mean, is this something from the coach, do you think? Is the coach going to
No, in South
management
Africa,
and saying,
no,
hey, guys,
no, it's
these
management.
players-
So I don't
Because
think
then also,
Management.
as a coach, surely you should be able to say, hang on, you can't just
Major-
send 5. I need these guys.
Major to train alone, it cannot come from a coach.
five senior players, mind
It
you.
cannot come
you
from
know.
a coach.
But the coach has
Who's
to have
gonna
some
cover
say.
that? Yeah, exactly.
Because if I'm the coach, I'm saying, listen, you're tying my hand behind my arm, my body now. Yes, I get it. They didn't apply themselves this weekend, but I need those players because I don't know if it's the next game or the game after that.
It might
they're gonna
be
give me a big
you put them in the
performance.
court for 2 days and then you come. Listen, in this level, you play with money. You play with money. We don't know how the contract are. Maybe it is performance based. So when you take a player in that level who is earning, let's say, 40 grand, and you say, for this game, if you do this, I'll take 10 grand away. The behavior changes in the different way.
But I also
In a
think
very
you-
bad way. Not
you-
good way. I'm not saying the good way.
You need a player like Michael Morton who's such a warrior
Right, exactly.
to in this.
To take-
I'm sure he's the
relegation, you know.
first to know that he made a mistake and it's cool. He's going to
Yeah.
dust himself off. But to pin 4-1 on 5 players.
Shane McGregor was my coach. Shane McGregor will come from a game against Bush Parks down there. We lost 1-0 and we're still fighting relegation. And then the very next training session, Shen is not talking. You know who's talking? Ronnie is on there. He's the captain.
Yeah.
Because Madigenga was often injured.
Yeah.
Ronnie was not tell you, say, listen, guys, I've got children. This is my last contract. You must go there. If you have a chance of scoring a goal, you're in the 40%, give the ball to the guy who have 70%.
Right.
And so we used to look at up to those guys, those big guys. They played in the big club. I mean, Ronnie's only come from Orlando Pirate, and the Siale come from Kaizer Chief. So you look up to those guys, and they're talking to you, and the coach is not talking. It is now the players are taking responsibility.
Yeah.
So you think Majoros, you think Morton, the guys say, listen, guys, it does happen to everybody. We didn't want to lose this game, but we know our decision is to stay in this Premier League. We have to go there and fight. When you put them there to train with under 10
and make them part of the problem, then it's a tricky one. I don't know how this one's going to pan out, but let's see. That coach being given a difficult task.
Yeah, I
but
think they've dug their heels in it. I honestly think this could be the turning point
for the season,
for their relegation scrap.
Yeah.
I think 5 senior players.
That doesn't make any sense, and I don't know if that mood is not going to be toxic to the rest of the squad. But let's see. Amazulu going with quite a radical decision there. We'll see how it pans out, because there's plenty of football still to be played. As much as they're out of the Nedbank Cup, they need to try fight for survival as far as the ABSA Premiership is concerned. Let's move on to Stellenbosch in action against Maritzburg. Maritzburg clearly showing that doesn't matter which lights on a Friday, as long as there's lights and it's a Friday, we can get a result. And they did it this time away on the road against Stellenbosch. And it was a strange one because all the goals came in the first 45 minutes. A brace from Kutumela. And then in the end, Maritzburg were able to find the win via penalties.
For me, the key of that game is we're not talking about Judas, we're talking about Kutumela scoring 2 goals.
Right.
Guys, this is the story I was telling you. They might just overtake SuperSport position.
He's back there.
He's back there.
They might just take SuperSport position. You start having Judas scoring, Kutumela scoring, our boy from SuperSport, from Sundown, the striker.
Oh, yes, Brocky.
Getting his first goal, opening up. Maritzburg might give, and the next game is against Kaizer Chief.
Yep.
And the Kaizer Chief, they're scared of the next game against Orlando Pirates, so that they can have so that might be a very nervous game with Kutumela and Judas scoring.
Who knows? Because it was good to see Kutumela just get ease the load, I guess. Now to have goals from different sources is good, and that's to the point that Chris makes, is that this could stand them in good stead with these players coming into form. Whereas you see a SuperSport side where the players started in form and kind of tapered off. Could it be the opposite thing that we see in Maritzburg's case?
Yeah, no, that's brilliant for them. And obviously, if they enjoy another good cup run, obviously we know in the Telkom knockout they went all the way. Now the Nedbank Cup, they into the last 16. It will depend who they get. They might fancy their chances again to go all the way. Their league form also is pretty good.
They might play against Valley University.
You never know. And then they've got Kaizer Chiefs at FNB Stadium this coming weekend. They gave Kaizer Chiefs a hard time in December last year. So I think I've always said from the beginning of the season, they lost Makaringe and Ndlovu and,
it was wobbly.
Yeah, it was wobbly, but I always felt like they had a good squad. I always felt like they got in some decent replacement. Dalen Klassen, as soon as he hits form, he was going to be an important player. Jeremy Broke, he say what you like, he can still be lethal, Keegan Buchanan finally recovered from injury and now he was available playing. And also I think a big boost for them on the weekend was that Sianda Kulu came back after missing a couple of months out injured.
And they back the goalkeeper good as well.
Their debutant goalkeeper is good. They still have Ofori. He's gonna return.
But Stellenbosch, good story. They score goals. They're scoring.
And what I liked about Stellenbosch was that they were expensive.
Right.
Yeah.
Usually they hold back, and Steve Barker did say at the beginning that look, tonight we're gonna play a little bit different,
right?
And Mbekile made his debut there, looked sharp, quick player, 33 years old, but speedy player, experienced as well. Ryan Moon. When you look at it now, you're thinking, hey, hang on a minute.
Exactly. Yeah.
Safety.
Yeah, it's not such a bad squad, and
No.
they could very well survive,
Yeah.
especially with Amazulu and Leopards and Polokwane City struggling so much.
Yeah, no, being all out of sorts. So congratulations there to Maritzburg, who managed on a Friday night yet again to keep that record of theirs intact. They're so formidable, winning 7-6 on penalties. Quick mention of some giant-slaying action that happened. Arrows are out. Vaal University able to win 8-7 on penalties there, and then Bombela United, I guess, saying to Cape Town City, go focus on surviving in the league with a 1-0 win over them. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting mix of results. I guess that the teams we kind of factored and favored to go through have gone through. Like you say, the draw will happen. We'll see the next matchups, but here it is. Outside of the teams challenging for the trophy, this is the last piece of silverware on offer.
It is the last, especially for Kaizer Chiefs.
Whose job could this cup save, do you think?
Whose job?
Could it save? Yeah, winning the Nedbank.
Okay, when you look at it, Eric Tinkler is safe.
Mm-hmm.
If he survive. Baka is safe if he survive. Well, okay, it's gone already, sorry. Pito, this cup is nothing. He already got a silverware in.
Right. So
and
he's
of course,
sorted.
he's
Yeah.
sorted as well. People
Yeah.
are talking.
Ernst, do you think it would
regardless,
save
regardless,
career?
regardless.
Chiefs?
Listen, he lost a cup already, so he
Yeah.
must win this.
If he wins this and he wins
I
the
think
league.
this cup is more about the club than the coach. For
Right.
Chiefs.
Yeah.
Right.
Because Chiefs, obviously, the last time they won the cup was May 2015.
They bombed out
Maybe
in a
personally
final,
for
yeah.
Ernst, in the fact that they lost to a lower division team last
He
season.
can come full
He
circle
can
with
come
victory.
full circle with this particular
Yeah.
cup competition.
Yeah.
But in the bigger picture, I think a trophy is more important to the club than Chiefs. But at the same time, hand in hand, because if you look at the ABSA Premiership, if he wins that, he'll say, I've been in South Africa for so long, I finally won a championship.
Right.
But he's won cups before in this country.
So for him, it's more about the championship.
Yeah, I think it's more about the championship.
And I guess this cup is for those who are dreaming of playing on the continent, in the rest of the continent. Because you win this one, you win
if you can go the route
place.
of
the league.
top three,
Mm.
it is a chance.
Yeah.
But we know South Africa. Africa is not most of their targets. I mean,
Yeah.
Mhm.
But with regards to saving jobs, I don't think any of the.
Anyone who could have had this save their job is already out.
Yes,
I think so.
Yes,
I think so. Yeah.
Something
yeah.
Pretty
like
much.
that.
Yeah.
For,
pretty much.
I think also what we must mention is that this effectively means Orlando Pirates will now go full six and a half
Yeah.
years
6 seasons.
without a trophy, because the league, I think mathematically speaking, they're still in it.
Are
But
in it,
it's a
but-
pipe dream.
Yeah.
Really.
Why pipe?
I look, it's with Wits, depending on how. I mean, Pirates have played what a
Let's
game
get the
more,
stats.
two
More
more
than-
game than
yeah,
Chiefs.
One
And
more.
one more, and they are 9 points behind. They could still turn around, but it's a pipe dream.
No, it is.
I think
It
it's a
is.
pipe dream
It
because
is.
you have Sundowns and Wits,
Exactly.
who, for me, stand a better chance of
It is.
of closing down Kaizer Chiefs than.
Well,
Orlando
I heard in
Pirates.
the stadium that they are targeting number 2, which still break my heart. But
Yeah, I mean, that's where they are
Possible.
right now. They could end up there, but like you say, yeah, you've got Sundowns, you've got 2 games less than Pirates, you've got Wits, you've got 5 games less than Pirates. So, yeah.
I mean, once Pirates, once Wits and Sundowns have caught up, and they
then we know.
Let's
then
have that
we'll
discussion.
then we'll
Where
have
the
a
water
clear
is.
picture. Then
Let's
we
have
can
that
say
discussion,
we
yeah.
can have a clear a proper discussion about where Pirates could
Yeah.
potentially finish.
yeah.
But hey, games they've won their games, because
But
games in
we have
hand,
to accept one thing. They have shown character. They're still very naive when we come to close the game,
Mhm.
but they're shown character, which is something good.
They have. Zimbabwe has been a breath of fresh air for Orlando Pirates, but I think the league, like we say, is maybe a bridge too far.
I saw David standing there, like Rulani,
Mhm,
coaching,
mhm,
and Jay-Z was at the back.
mhm.
The memories that coming in. And supporters started pointing at him. Yeah, you go back. Let the coach in front. So I said, okay, this is pirate story.
This is what happens when Christopher Bongo goes back to the stadium, folks. Gents, thank you so much for your impressions tonight. Remember, the full story around what's happening with Kaizer Chiefs comes Wednesday, courtesy of Mazola. You can direct all your vitriol towards him. And then we'll do this again in a week's time.
You can still ask him a question tonight.
Well, yeah. I mean, they're going to go at you on Twitter. By Wednesday, it'll be a surprise if you still have any story to still tell. But yeah, no, thank you so much for bringing us up to speed with that. Bongo, thanks so much for your critical analysis. And thanks to you for tuning in. We're done for the week, but we're going to, leave you with the football gods. They're going to sort you out. There's some midweek action happening. And of course, the weekend again. But there's bits, of course, in midweek action as they play catch up. Will the win on the weekend, albeit by penalties, but a good rescue at the death by Matupa, encourage them as far as the league campaign is concerned. Like we said, a whole 15 points on offer compared to the teams ahead of them who've played 20 games so far this season. Let's see if Gavin Hunt has a trick up his sleeve, as many, including Bongo, reckon that he can. Do you think they can do it?
Yeah.
I still think Chiefs will win the league, but I think Wits will give them
a run for their money.
And Sundowns. Wits and Sundowns will run them close, but I think Chiefs will win the league.
Okay, and Pirates will be in the mix. Okay, so there we have it. Discussed. We'll do it again in a week's time. For myself, Gavin Zambata and the team. Until we meet again, have a good week. Check it out at Front Sports on all the socials. Until we meet again, take care. Welcome to Front Sports Roundup of the top 5 African plays from this past week. Making the list at number 5 is Islam Slimani, who scored the match-winning goal in Monaco's 2-1 victory against Amiens in the French League. That is goal number 8 for the Algerian big man. Staying in France, Victor Osimhen netted in Lille's 2-0 away win over Angers. The Nigeria international now has 12 goals in the French top flight thanks to this latest effort. South African star Jermaine Seoposenwe makes our list at number 3 after sealing her move to Spanish side Real Betis Feminas. Seoposenwe, who starred in Banyana's first ever Women's World Cup last year, is now the second South African woman to join a Spanish outfit after Ode Fulitidilo starred for Malaga last season. At number 2, Nigeria's national basketball team D Tigres booked a ticket to the 2020 Olympic Games in Tokyo. For the first time in history, the West African nation's men and women's basketball teams will feature at the same time at an Olympics tournament. Our top star of the week is David Bamasai, who clinched first place at the 2020 Lagos City Marathon held in Nigeria. The Kenyan completed the 42-kilometer race in 2 hours, 10 minutes and 22 seconds. Bamasai is set to pocket $50,000. That's a cool amount of cash. We start from England, where Sheffield United continued their hunt for European football as the Blades sealed a 2-1 win against Bournemouth.
I'm not a comfortable manager. We're not a comfortable team. We want more. We've enjoyed our first year back in the Premier League. We've played a part in it, and there's some big games coming up. And we want days like we've had today against difficult opponents. Conditions weren't great, but I think you look at the job that Eddie's done and the players that he's got, and the sort of the achievements they've had over 3-4 years, 5 years, even longer, to get to the Premier League and stay there.
Pep Guardiola insists his expiring contract will not affect the club's transfer dealings.
So the club is stable and the club move forward. Always good, really good before I came here. So with Mancini won the title, with titles with Manuel, and the football they played in that period was good, really good. So I think I'm not the reason why, and the club is good enough.
In tennis, USA fought hard to beat Latvia 3-2 to reach the Fed Cup finals.
I am so incredibly proud. I love these girls. I mean, it's been an incredible couple of days. We had some hard-fought matches today. They are a tough team. They came out ready. They played well today. But we finished it in a strong fashion, and I couldn't be any more proud than for my entire team, of my entire team.
And in golf, Minwoo Lee claimed his first professional victory after winning the Vic Open in Australia.
Yeah, I was pretty comfortable all day. I've been hitting it so good all week, and it was, the win was about to come, I felt. So, it was nice to, be in full control my ball and putted really good, and yeah, I just hung in there and got the win at the end.
Finally, England won back the Calcutta Cup and kept their Six Nations title hopes alive with victory over Scotland in awful weather conditions.
Today was a test of leadership, how your team was able to adapt to the conditions, and I thought our leadership was absolutely outstanding. Standing and started with the bloke to my left.